call Craig, you say, Craig, get in here. Not whatever the hell you just said.
What I said was /join, and biggity bam, there he is.
The second time you called.
Yeah. Well, I was yelling down the wrong hallway.
We have hallways.
Apparently.
So, this is completely unrelated to Dungeons and Dragons, and the best way to start off anything that I know about ever. I need you to open up your browser. Okay. Go to mcbroken.com. mcbroken.com.
Am I about to get a virus?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. If the McDonald's ice cream machine is broken,
Yes.
Okay.
It is a website that pulls data from their mobile app. And basically, if the mobile app shows that ice cream is orderable, then the ice cream machine works. If it's broken, the app doesn't show that ice cream is orderable from that store. So what this site does is it crawls the mobile app on all countries and basically gives you a local map of the area that you're in and shows you how many McDonald's ice cream machines are broken.
Yeah, this is actually the most important website. Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, like none of them are even close to as important as this is, because I can currently see that the two closest McDonald's to where I live are operable. So if I really want, I can go get ice cream right now from them.
There's like 20 stores in my area, and like 4 of them are down.
Oh, well, that's not surprising. I mean, you live in a much bigger place than I do. Like if I go to Birmingham, which is the closest city, I currently see 4 of them. They're not working. So
yeah, man, there's a ton in Savannah that are just broken.
that's because Savannah is broken.
Oh, geez, look at Atlanta, man. Atlanta, like.
Oh yeah. I'm not even surprised. But look at how many of them there are. You know, there might be 20 broken 20 or even 30 broken ice cream machines at McDonald's in Atlanta, but there's 130 stores. So,
man, the amount of McDonald's on New York, on Manhattan Island alone, is huge.
well, yeah, it's like Dollar Generals up there. You know, there's just one every block. So I'm glad we could start the podcast with this garbage.
Yeah, 12.2% of all McDonald's ice cream machines right now are broken. And in case you ever want to see something that's incredibly just effed up, look up the history of the broken ice cream machines and all the lawsuits and stuff going on right now. It is insane. It really is.
So are people actually suing because they can't get ice cream?
No, the short of it is this. The company that manufactures ice cream machines intentionally has them break.
Oh, okay.
Through the code in the machine itself.
That way they can go out and get service contracts and continue to make money off of McDonald's.
Yes.
And since they're franchised, McDonald's, the company McDonald's will not ever bother suing for that. So.
Yeah, and it's about like 10% of them should always be down or broken at one point in time, but it goes even further because a third-party company found this out and sold McDonald's a patch that would fix the ice cream machines permanently so they wouldn't break unintentionally all the time. And they got sued by the company that makes the ice cream machines and stuff like that. So it's this big, long decade going on back and forth between these companies.
Yeah. Hey, Apple, we're looking at you and your stupid phones.
My phone works great. I'm just talking about.
For the next, I don't know, when does your contract run out with it?
Oh, that shouldn't happen with the new phones. The old phones, yes.
Yeah. There were lawsuits against Apple over that, where they were intentionally slowing down the phones. That way people would have to buy new ones after like 2 years.
Yeah. So a lot happened this past week in D&D world.
It's been a fairly busy week. We actually have a good number of things to talk about, as well as my own D&D campaign. So,
chapter 1 of the of Dragonlance got leaked.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
Well,
look at it,
I, I've
but
I've seen people who are already saying they have physical copies of it already.
well, yeah, the
And
review copies went out.
yeah, and the reviews, from what I'm hearing, are very sort of 50-50. Some people are very happy with it, and the people like me who are fans of Dragonlance are generally very unhappy with it.
Yeah, so when it comes to that book, my general consensus and feeling of it, without having read it and just what it is, I don't have enough information in the stuff that's been leaked. And they leaked like the table of contents and what the stuff is, because it's mostly like 85% of it's an adventure, but it's a
Right.
whole different world. It's a whole different mindscape of how things work. Cultures are different, people are different, yada yada yada. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. Maybe if I did, this book would not be an interesting supplement to get me into 5e with Dragonlance, but it sounds like those people don't like it.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to spend my time doing research in a world that currently exists, I'm going to go to Eberron, or I'm going to go to Ouroboros and look at the books that I just got from them.
You mean the one with all
And
the lore actually in them?
right, and actually learn this stuff. And that's the same problem I'm having with the Ouroboros stuff, is that there's a lot there, and it's going to take a while for me to get and understand the cultural and the world that's there, the cultural like practices in the world that's there, in order to be able to run a game there successfully. And the players are also going to have to learn all those different nuances as well.
Oh yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of questions for me. I can't just pick it up and just run with it. And even the Ouroboros book does the same problem I see with the Dragonlance book, where it just doesn't give enough like history and like welcome to the world. This is what it is. There's a lot of like high end talking points that get discussed,
Mhm.
but there's never any like in depth details as to what's going on. Now, I haven't read all of Ouroboros yet, but I know what's ahead of me, and my questions are still kind of out there as to like how things work and operate and everything. Like, how grim dark is it really? Maybe if I read the accompanying novel, I'll understand. But even then, it's like
You
I,
shouldn't
I don't
have
want to.
you shouldn't have to do that. Not to
Yeah,
say that you wouldn't want to read the accompanying novel, but the novel is supposed to be a separate thing. Novels are novels. You will get a lot of lore from them, obviously. Forgotten Realms and Dragonlance have a bazillion novels, and there's tons of lore in there. But you should
yeah,
never be required to read those to at least pick up on the vast majority of stuff.
yeah. Like Warcraft is another like world and fantasy. Same with Lord of the Rings, that I could probably run a game
Mhm.
in that setting without having to do a lot of research. Now, even Dungeons and Dragons, I will go down and get lost in rabbit holes of data,
Oh yeah, yeah. We all do it,
Like,
and I do it constantly.
and that's kind of that's why everything is based in the Sword Coast, is because that's what everybody knows. At least the majority of the population knows. So if they're going to
Well,
write a book, they want something that hits everybody. So most people know the Sword Coast,
well, they do now because that's all that's been written about in fifth edition. Uh,
right? But
prior
still,
prior to fifth edition, people knew all about the Dale lands. They knew about Symbia, the Aracon Desert. Like they knew all these other locations and a lot about them because there was a lot written about those places previously.
the what now?
The the Arak Desert on a rock,
Yeah.
yeah, on a rock. That's it.
You said Dale Lands. There's only one. There's just Icewind Dale.
No, that's not even part of the Dale lands. Yeah, wait to prove my point.
uh, but at least I can run a game on the Sword Coast. I can't run Red Wizards of Thay. I don't know anything about Thay. Well, I could probably look it up and learn it, but
Yeah.
I had the problem with Eberron too, and I had to spend all this time learning that new setting.
Yes.
And that book, that Dragonlance book, does not help me learn about Dragonlance in a way for me to be able to run it.
Yep.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
the expectation I think is that people are just going to add the feats and the other archetype, the subclass, into their existing campaigns. or they're just going to run the module that comes with it, that's most of the book, and that's going to be the extent of everything Dragonlance.
which
Is
feels
nothing at
wrong.
all. Yeah, that's why I have no interest in this book.
Yeah, it's like the Ouroboros stuff. I've been reading through that and getting through like the kind of intro chapters and like how things are and like what the history is, what Lawbrand is, what the cataclysm was, what the major religion is, and stuff like that. And it's kind of jumping all over the place right now too. Like I'm getting like this very there's the world is called Lawbrand. There's a bunch of trading outposts. They're like the local governments, but also there's a central religion that kind of runs things, and they send out enforcers. So I'm getting this kind of like this is 40K in a fantasy setting, and there's a team here that's also Overwatch. I mean, it all comes from Chris Metzen, anyways, who kind of wrote, you know, Warcraft and Overwatch and Starcraft. So he
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
he gets that. So like,
So
but
it, it it sounds like Chris Metzen decided to just take everything that he's created and like combine it and squish it together and make it into a tabletop.
well, according to him, is he actually playing this in high school?
Uh, So yeah, all right, that's exactly what he did then.
So
I mean,
I still got to kind of fill out. I don't even know like the tone of the place. Like every trading outpost has like its own like culture and like things that they do.
yeah.
But I'm still getting that everything is just like this weird grim dark, but not kind of
I mean,
feel to it.
I went. We spent the two streams that time going over the classes and all the races and feats and such.
Those are fine,
Yeah, and so I got at least a little bit of an understanding of a little understanding of the setting. But yeah, we didn't go over any of the lore or any of the actual world, so I'm completely clueless as to all of that.
Yeah. So like I was like, oh, I really want to run something like this. Like, no, it's gonna take me months to sit down and read this book and like chew through it and really get invested in this world. And but then at the end of the day, it's like, why? I can just play D&D now and play
Um, that is sort
on
of
the
the
Sword Coast.
that's yeah, but that's easy, because if you take Ouroboros and you actively learn it and then run it, it's going to be yours because fucking everybody in D&D runs Sword Coast shit. Everybody runs all the modules that are out there. Not a lot of people are running Ouroboros. Most people who play D&D have never even heard of this setting, because it was a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
So like you will be it will kind of be your thing.
right.
It's one of the reasons I only run, my own homebrew stuff because it's mine. I don't have to care what anybody else is doing with their stuff.
It's mine.
It's mine. I have complete control over the setting.
That's fair, and I understand it from that concept, but like I can run my own story how I want it to be better in like Fallout, for example. I could run a Fallout story right now
Yeah.
without
But
having to look anything up or learn anything. I know everything about the thing because I spent hundreds of hours playing the games. I have no frame of reference other than this one, and it's only one rule book. And I just don't feel like there's enough to get me where I need to be because the majority of it's all the specially crafted
sure.
races and
I mean, there may not
places.
be. Like I said, I haven't seen the book. I haven't read the book, so there might not be enough lore there.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna keep cracking at it though. Like I said, I really am interested in running a setting there. Um, it's just gonna take me a lot more time than I thought it would.
Yeah. Um. So I let's talk my campaign since it's sort of in alignment with what we're already discussing. So I've wrapped up the halfway point of my own personal game.
Okay.
All my players are level 10. The campaign was already always expected to run till about level 20. So I've told all my players I'm taking December off from DMing. I'm just not doing it for the next month. and then
Lazy.
some. I need a break. There,
Okay.
we have 4 people who can DM in my group. I think it'll be fine. Uh, so I'm going to take a break. Then in January, I'm going to start running a second edition game for at least a few months, just to get a feel for something else. Because all we've done is play fifth edition for how long's it been out? 6 years now, 7 years.
Hmm.
That's all we've done is play that game. So I'm going to run a second edition game, and in the uh, same vein as what you're talking about, I am running, like I discussed last week, just a simple dungeon. It will completely be a dungeon, and I'm going to try the when there's real downtime. That's how much downtime your players have,
Yeah.
like we talked about. So if it takes us 2 weeks between game sessions, then the characters had 2 weeks between game sessions. A lot of that will be utilized to purchase things, talk to NPCs, do training for leveling, etc., learning new skills, and so forth. But
I think that'd be
it,
good.
it's going to be very, very simple for me to run because it's just it's an endless dungeon. All I have to do is every week just come up with a new section of the dungeon and what's in that. There's no story, there's no lore, there's just a dungeon, survive it, gain loot. Just as first edition and second edition really were. Like that was always sort of the intention of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of monsters that work better with that mindset as well too.
Mhm.
Like all like the carrion crawlers and
Oh yeah.
like the corpse
The
machines and
Yep. The
um
sludges, the oozes, the
yeah,
gelatinous
that
cubes.
they come back after and just like eat all the bodies and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, you cleared out the room last time. You left the bodies. Now there's some weird kind of sentient fungus there now eating all the bodies.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And and it could be I can, if they get through say the first level of the dungeon and they're down on the second level, if I really want to, I could have a tribe of kobolds or goblins move into that first level and just make life difficult for them just even getting back to where they were. I can run it.
Haha, you took Christmas off? Well, now the goblins have moved in.
I mean, if they're gone for 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks for other things to move in. So it should be interesting. My plan is to just sort of run that haphazardly. Anybody in my group or anybody in my play group who really wants to join can. If people are absent, it doesn't matter. It will not affect our ability to run the game.
That's good.
Yep. So
It should work out for you.
yeah, I'm going to give that a shot. I think it'll be fun. My players, I mentioned it to them after I wrapped up, and a lot of them were really interested in it. Seemed like so.
Are you going to use the old 2E initiative rules?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think the only thing I'm going to change from 2E, and I really do need to go back through the rules completely. I did sort of recently, but I'm definitely changing the movement system. I'm just updating that to 5E because it'll work just fine. If you're medium-sized race, you get 30 feet of movement. If you're short, you get 25. Because
That's not the 5E system.
That all right, that's 5E. That I don't give a fuck what their stupid everybody has 30 feet of movement shit is. That's
Everybody
not
has 30 feet of movement. I don't know what you're talking about.
well, I can show you in the handbook I own where it says otherwise.
Oh, that's a
Anyway,
first printing. Oh,
yeah,
I see.
yeah,
You're one of
yeah.
those people.
I am one of those people. You're goddamn right I am. So anyway,
Well, in my current player's handbook, it says otherwise.
well, it is incorrect.
Whose player's handbook was more correct?
The second edition one, honestly. So second edition, the movement scales were completely different. It was basically if you're medium sized, you get 120, and if you are short, you get 60. And that effectively means that all of the short races move at half the speed of a human, which kind of sucks if you're using a grid or a map for movement. Like that's overpoweringly bad. At the time it worked because nobody used maps. Everybody just sort of, "Oh yeah, you can make that," or "No, you can't make that." It was all, theater of the mind. So,
Hmm.
the design was originally for miniatures games like Warhammer where you would measure distances. So 120 was basically a 12 foot, or 12-inch ruler, and 60 was 6 inches. So
I don't want to say anything to that.
well,
Hey,
anyway,
can you show me 6 inches? Sure.
yeah, yeah, yep.
I like that. No better.
All right, well,
Hey,
I'm
hey, Mike, I need a 2 inches on the side of the edge. I know where to deploy. Okay, hold on.
fucking
Poor
Warhammer
Mike.
players. But anyway, I figure 30-25 works a lot better. Everything else will probably just be as the system is. The character creation might do a little different. Currently I'm probably just gonna do 3d6. We'll do it 7 times. That way you get one. You can possibly dodge one fucking terrible roll, and then you get to place them how you want.
No, 3d6 straight, man. Just do it the right way.
Well, there's like even in that rule book, there's 8 variants of how you can make characters.
3d6 straight.
Nah,
Don't.
I do want to add that one little caveat. That way, my players might have a chance of playing something they might want to play. They're all going to make 2 characters anyway because that first character's fucking dead. I mean, let's be honest. When you're a wizard and you start with 4 hit points, you're just fucking dead.
Dies the 1d4 anything damage.
Yeah.
Speaking of Warhammer, I did tilt a Warhammer player earlier today. And it was actually in the oddest way because I didn't mean to. I was just kind of poking fun at them. They were talking. It had like a normal player, like a pro player, and like a newer player. And then one of my D&D players was there really early, so she was talking with them, trying to get an idea of what Warhammer was, because she's just, oh look, models! I need to kill time because I'm waiting for the game to start. And the newer player had just like primed models on the board. Okay.
Yep.
So he put everything. He bought the box, cut them all up, put them together, put them on the board, and he played with those. And then my player asked the person, it's like, so you have to paint these? And he was like, yeah. It's like, can you paint them any color? And he's like, yeah, you can paint them any color you want.
Yep.
And I was sitting there, I was like, excuse me, what? He was like, yeah, you can paint the Space Marines any color you want. You mean blue, right? They're Ultramarines. They're blue. He's like, no, the Ultramarines can be any color. He's like, no, Ultramarines are blue, Salamanders are red, White Wolves are like grayish.
Angels
They
are
have
red.
wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space
I know this.
wolves are white or blue.
I
Yeah.
don't even play the game. I know you can't break this cardinal rule. He's like, well, you can take any army and pretend it's something else. It's like, no, you can't. You can't do that. You buy the box. You play that box. I mean, maybe at the table you give a friendly rule, but you can't paint your Ultramarines pink. I mean, if you had a sisterhood chapter, then maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah,
you're not gonna be able to play you can't play at my Warhammer table with red freaking Ultramarines. Well, they were red in the past. No, they weren't. They were always blue. I'm looking around. They're all blue.
Yeah.
And so I did it kind of like jokingly, but it quickly descended that this guy was getting mad at me. And then we started talking about D&D miniatures because they're like, oh, the D&D pre-painted ones suck. I was like, have you seen them recently? And I actually pulled out all the Spelljammer ones that I had, and they're all really good. They're definitely worth, at least this box, this spool is definitely worth the $29 a box that they cost now.
God, fuck that. No.
Well, yeah. The price is still expensive, but you still get the if you buy them in a brick, they're down to like $23 a box.
I was
And,
buying them for like 15, I think, when I was purchasing them
mm-hmm.
for like a cube of them or box of them, whatever it was.
Yeah, they've gone up quite a bit. I mean, everything has.
I mean, even 15 seemed very high at the time. So the fact that they're 25 or whatever the hell they are now is no, or $30. No, just no.
You still get 5 minis, and they're all worth it, I think.
5 minis for $30. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's $5 a mini.
Yes.
Basically, it's more than that, but that's
I mean,
ridiculous.
but
That's ridiculous.
if you're lucky, you get the really good rare ones. If you're not, then you don't.
It's called gambling.
Yes. And what do you think opening packs of Magic card is?
Also gambling.
Right. We all gamble. Just what you gamble in is what's different.
Anyway,
All right. So let's move on to the UA.
the UA. Oh, you mean the video about the UA?
Well, the actual UA that came out.
When did it come out?
Same time, the same day the video came out.
I did not realize that. I haven't even seen it,
All right. So the next Unearthed Arcana for D&D 1 has come out.
which we will talk about next week after I've seen it.
I just finished reading it. I thought we were talking about it.
No,
You can
I
react. I
have not seen this thing at all.
all they
You're talking
all
about
they
Wonders of the Multiverse one?
no. It's called the
Oh,
Cleric and Revised Species.
why is it not on the front fucking page of their stupid, shitty website?
It is. You got to click on the D&D 1 button.
D&D 1 button on their
Yes.
on their website.
On D&D Beyond.
All right, I'm on D&D. Oh, that's okay. That's why. That's Wizards.
Yeah, not
D-
Wizards.
Okay, so
D&D.
I type in Unearthed Arcana into Google, and oh, hang on, maybe if I spell it right, that might help. All right.
Yeah, maybe.
So the top link is dnd.wizards.com, followed by Wikipedia, followed by Reddit, followed by 2 YouTube videos, followed by Spells of Lost Souls. Like
There.
they don't even fucking come up. It's the second page of Google searches to even get to their website.
And that's our Google podcast.
Yeah. Fix this shit.
All right.
All right.
So
Download.
it's relatively short on Unearthed Arcana. They introduced the Cleric, and they revised the species. So the first thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, let's be very brief about this, because next week we'll actually talk about it after I've looked through it.
Well, this is all I have prepared for today.
Well,
So.
well, we have a good half hour just talking about the video they released about the first UA,
which I didn't watch.
You're the one who linked it to me, dipstick.
I know, because I thought we were talking about the actual UA, so I spent my time reading that. Anyways, how do you feel about them talking about the heffalump in the room? How do you feel about them removing race as a term in D&D now fully and replacing it with species?
I don't give a shit. I think species is the wrong word for it, but I really don't care.
I'm pretty much in the same boat you are. There are a lot of people that are bitching about it online the worst way.
Sure.
Like, I don't care if you call them races. I don't care if you call them species. Species just feels wrong. Ancestries, lineages, both of those words I feel are much better than species.
So
because when I think species, I think like the Latin words for cats. You know,
that's a horse. That's a dog. That's a lizard. Like, yeah, species is just the wrong term for it. Now, me personally, I'm just old. I've been playing D&D for 30 plus years. It's always been race. I will probably continue to just call it race until the day I die, because that's just what I know it as.
Yeah, it's something that's going to take a little while to replace in my language vocabulary. With things that are that ingrained, sometimes I stumble quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm just not even going to try, because I don't really care. It doesn't affect anything in any way what the word is, you know?
Yeah. But the character species, they redid Ardling and Dragonborn,
which they did talk about in the video.
Okay, good. When we talk about those then, and then they added Goliath.
Okay.
Okay. So finally, after who knows how freaking long, Goliath is now a player handbook race.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be.
Yay. But... Well, wait till you see what they did with it. All right. So are we okay with reviewing Ardling? Because I didn't watch the video.
Yeah. Because
I thought you actually found this.
I haven't actually seen what changes they made, but I they talked about the changes, and I was actually very good with the direction they were moving with Ardling, because what they said specifically in the video is, and it was one of the top complaints they had out of all of them, was that there's already Asimir, and they were making Ardlings like Asimir, so they got rid of that apparently and made them more bestial in nature, which I'm actually fine with. That's a good change.
Okay. So I'll read here what they have for Ardling.
Yep.
It says Ardling, celestial animals roam the beastlands, a plane of untamed beauty and wild nature. Many of those otherworldly animals serve the beast lords, and in the early days of the multiverse, some of the animals evolved into bipedal forms. Among their number are Ardlings, people with beast-like heads, keen senses, and innate connection to divine magic. Long ago, the ancestors of Ardlings migrated to the material planes, and Ardlings can now be found on many worlds. An Ardling has the head resembling that of an animal. Depending on the animal, the Ardling may also have fur, feathers, scales, some little and others hulking. Ardlings are as varied as the animals they resemble. And that alone, I like the Ardling. I mean, just the description alone, like it's very similar to the Journey Beyond the Radiant Citadel, and how they handled the spiritual plane for the animals, and had those like weird crystalline deities that were kind of roaming that plane up there. It feels very similar to that. I think that's kind of cool. I don't get if this is an angel kind of vibe that I got from it previously.
Yes.
And I'm cool with this. I get an idea too that these kind of like like almost like Egyptian in a way, or it could very easily
I mean,
be associated with that.
if you ever hear the word, like a beast head on a human body, you're
Yeah.
gonna think Egyptian just because
Yeah.
of all the iconography we have of that.
Right. So that's where my mind goes to immediately.
Same.
So this is the adventure Ardling adventurer traits. They are humanoid. They are medium or small. They have a speed of 30 feet because everyone's 30 feet of movement. They have
Unless
a
they're small, then
lifespan.
it's 25. But
They have a lifespan of 200 years on average, and they have an animal ancestry. Depending on the animal ancestry, you get a couple different things. So the first one they have here is climber, a bear, cat, lizard, or squirrel.
yeah, well, they have it broken up into 4 groups.
Right.
It looks like climbers, flyers, racers, and swimmers.
So climber, bear, cat, lizard, squirrel. Bear, climber, they climb.
I mean, if you've seen the trailer for Cocaine Bear, you would know that bears can climb.
All right, I'm not going to read the description for climber. I'm just going to go on to the examples because I'll explain why in a second. So if they have flyer is bat, eagle, owl, and raven, all avian birds except for the bat, being a mammal.
And the dodo. Dodo doesn't count.
There's no lizard flyers here, I guess. I'm going to skip racer. I'll get back to that one in a second. Swimmer, crocodile, dolphin, frog, shark.
I know exactly why you skipped racer.
Crocodile's a known swimmer, so is hippo a known swimmer?
I would say yes.
Okay. Racer. All right. Deer. Okay.
And that last one though.
Dog. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Horse. Absolutely. Well-known racers. Triceratops. What the fuck? Triceratops? Why is a Triceratops a racer? Why is there a dinosaur on this list? Could you not think of any other racing animal, like, I don't know, the cheetah to put in there? Rabbit? Why the Triceratops?
Wait, have you never actually watched Triceratops racing? I mean, come on, man, catch up with the times.
Ostrich? I don't know. I saw a movie about that when I was a kid with people racing ostriches or emus or some shit.
Yeah.
But Triceratops, that's what you went with. You went with Triceratops instead of, like, I don't know, anything else. And then here's the other point. If you wanted to have a dinosaur in there, which I'm fine with on the surface, I guess, why there's no dinosaur? Why can't my flyer be the pterodactyl? Yeah. Why can't my climber be a giant sloth? Why can't my swimmer be whatever the giant swimming eaty thing is from Jurassic World?
Well, now they don't. I don't think it says it in here, but I think the intention is that these are the four that they've listed for each of them are just examples. Although,
Okay, well, Triceratops aren't known for racing. They're known for charging into things, which isn't racing. And I can tell you, because I'm a very well-known charger in my life,
okay,
I
so
can run things over, but I can't run for long distances. And I doubt a Triceratops can go more than a quarter of a mile before it's just tanked.
the word race and the word racer are both incorrect as proper descriptions of what they intended. Because if you read the effect, you actually said what a triceratops does. They're known at running at things. And this is the effect is when you take the dash action, your speed increases for that action. The increase equals 10 times your proficiency bonus. So
Okay,
if you're
so
just running forward, it makes sense.
so it should be charger, and the examples could be deer,
Yes.
goat,
Bull.
uh,
Yeah.
bull, and triceratops. I don't know of a horse that's well. I was gonna say I don't know a horse that's a good charger, but I guess you do ride them in the battle.
Yeah.
But that's I don't think a horse does that normally for
Now,
fun.
now, me personally, when I give feedback on this one, I'm going to tell them if you change Triceratops, I will not buy your books. That shit needs to stay right where it is.
All right, so you read racer, read the climber, flyer, and swimmer.
Okay, for climber, you have hooked claws, sharp nails, or a serpentine tail. As a result, you have a climb speed equal to your speed, and once per turn, when you deal damage with your unarmed strike to a target, you can increase the damage to that target by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. So that actually makes climbers the quintessential monks.
Climbers are like slashers.
Yeah, but you would always want to play an Ardling climber if you're playing a monk because of that right there. That's just free damage.
I
Uh
mean, that's why I play my Minotaur monk because uh I can sub in my horns as an unarmed attack
sure, yeah.
and use my
D6.
dex instead of
Yep.
strength. So yeah, I'm doing a d6 plus dex
Yeah.
like 3 times in a round. And I'm like level 1. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah. So the flyer, you have vestigial wings. As a result, when you fall at least 10 feet, you can use your reaction to safely glide downward, taking no damage from the fall. In addition, when you take the jump action, you can flap your wings to gain advantage on that action's ability check. Okay, so you can get advantage on jump checks. That's weird wording, but
Ooh, so awesome.
yeah, it seems kind of weak.
Where's the at level 5 you can fly?
Yeah, it needs something like that. Um,
Yeah.
The swimmer, you can hold your breath for up to an hour at a time, and you have a swim speed equal to your speed. In addition, you have resistance to cold damage. The thing that you do not seem to have resistance to is pressure for being too deep underwater.
Maybe they just assumed.
Yeah.
No, you
Oh,
can
no.
swim, so
Yeah.
you're immune to pressure.
Yeah. How deep are
That's
you going again?
that actually reminds me of my favorite joke in Futurama. It's one of the episodes where they're basically fishing out in the middle of the ocean, and it's when they go down to Atlanta, because
Uh-huh.
Atlanta is now at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
And so like they're fishing and the ship starts getting pulled underwater. So the spaceship's getting pulled deeper and deeper underwater. Water's like everything's crumbling and leaking everywhere. And they're like, "Oh, we're suffering 100 atmospheres of pressure." And Fry goes to the professor and he's like, "Professor, how many atmospheres of pressures can the spaceship handle?" He says, "Well, it's a spaceship, so between 0 and 1."
Yeah.
And I don't know why that always makes me laugh
And
because it's a spaceship.
yeah. Yeah. And somehow you've remembered that all these years.
Oh well, it's Futurama, man.
That's fair. That is fair.
Can't go wrong.
The other things that the Ardlings get is divine magic and keen senses. Keen senses gives you proficiency in the perception skill, and divine magic you can innately channel minor divine magic. You know the thaumaturgy spell, and that's pretty much it. You get thaumaturgy as a cantrip.
No, you need to keep reading that.
Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace that spell with a different 0 level spell from the divine spell list. Okay. You could pick You start with thaumaturgy, and your first time you ever rest in game, you can just pick a better divine cantrip.
Honestly, I think they should just say you get thaumaturgy for free and leave it at that.
Yeah,
Because I like this idea of the Ardling being like, like an Egyptian kind of like
yeah, yeah.
deity in a sorts, and using thaumaturgy to kind of like bask in my presence kind of thing. I
No,
really like that vibe that they have from that.
what it should actually say, since these guys don't have dark vision, is that you actually just get the light spell.
Maybe.
Because
Speaking of
that
dark
that's
vision,
that's what I would take.
speaking of dark vision, did they talk about Dragonborn?
Yes, they did. They didn't say a whole lot, but the biggest complaint that they got, period, was the changes they had to the Dragonborn. So in the changes they had made, it basically took a currently good breath weapon and made it the old shitty breath weapon where nobody would ever use it again. And
Yeah,
they took that to heart, and I'm assuming they fixed that and made it where you could
yeah.
actually just
I
use it as
think
part of your attack action.
I think we even commented it's like they'll probably change that to begin with. Like it
Yeah,
would seem very dumb for them to kind of get rid of the way that breath weapon works now because it works really good now. Not going to discuss what a Dragonborn is. We all know what it is. Yes, it is a change they made to the Dragonborn. They can replace one of the attacks in their attack action with their breath weapon. I still think it should just kind of like be a free bonus action. I've always liked it there, but whatever. If you're a
it's
fighter, Dragonborn, you're never going to notice a difference. Um, I kind of like to see you could replace it with an attack of the attack action or as a bonus action, either or. I think a lot more classes would benefit better from that.
sure.
Like if I'm a spell casting Dragonborn, I cast a spell, use my breath weapon because I can
Yeah,
use a bonus action for something.
yes, and I it's hard to argue with that, but the Dragonborn is, because of the breath weapon, it's really designed for melee classes who get multi attack. Like if you don't get multi attack, then you're never going to use your breath weapon. It's that
That's that's
simple.
that's honestly why I think they should honestly add the or bonus action caveat in there.
Maybe even lower the damage that it deals, or the damage goes up as you go up in levels. That way, if you're
Which
using it
it
as a bonus
does.
act, yeah, but yeah, I know it does. But if you're using it as a bonus act, well, I was saying what I'm talking about is have it just do a D6 or something like that, but you can use it as a bonus action. Then at fifth level, it goes to a D8, then to a D12. So it's very minor, but it's just a bonus action. So
They get their damage resistance based on what kind of dragon they are.
yep.
They
And
get
dark
dark
vision.
vision now. They
Finally.
finally get dark vision back
Yep.
from fourth edition.
Yep. Yeah.
Missing for all of fifth. Dark vision.
It never made sense that Dragonborn wouldn't have dark vision, and I'm just curious if maybe when they wrote up the initial book, if they just forgot it, just
Maybe.
just very simply forgot to add it in there. It's not even that it was intentional, but
Well, I
uh,
mean, hold on a second. Let me look up something real quick. Let's look up a young dragon. A
I
young
mean,
bronze dragon.
well, honestly, what you need to do is look up second edition Dragonlance, the Draconians, and see if they had it, because that's what these are stolen from. Because the
So
Draconia,
so dragons, a young bronze dragon does not have dark vision, which makes no sense. No, sorry, it does have dark vision. It has dark vision of 100. Yeah, they always should have had it. I was looking in the wrong spot. That was
yeah,
weird. They have blind sight and they have dark vision and a passive perception. Yeah, Dragonborn should have always had it. Um, they also get draconic flight. When you reach fifth level, you learn how to channel the magical energy of your draconic ancestry to give yourself temporary flight. As a bonus action, you sprout spectral wings on your back that last for 10 minutes or until you're incapacitated, or you retract your wings as a bonus action. During that time, you have fly speed equal to your speed. Your wings appear to be made out of energy used by your breath weapon. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest.
See, they get a fly speed.
Negative fly speed.
I don't know why
Honestly,
Ardlings don't.
yeah, they really the flyer definitely needs to have a fly speed. Um, it's just really weird. I don't like them getting wings per se. Um, I think that should be a feat. A dragonborn specific feat,
Yeah.
something that gives you like a stat and wings. I don't like the base race getting it though.
Yeah, because they released Fizzban's Treasury of Dragons. They could have thrown stuff like that in there as feats for Draconians or Dragonborn specifically to take. It would have made more sense.
Right.
Although I understand this is for sixth edition, but still, I'm not a fan of them just getting Draconic Flight. I'm not a fan of any race starting with Flight, and they
Alk
don't.
and Aarakocra should.
Aarakocra shouldn't be playable to start with,
Why
and
not?
uh, in general, I don't think Al could. In general, I don't think animal races should be playable. I don't think they should be a thing at all.
What's the matter?
But
You hate birds?
yes, have you ever been around birds? Birds suck.
No, I haven't. Birds aren't real.
Oh, okay. Neither is the moon. So anyway,
No, moon's real.
next thing is Goliaths.
Why don't you go ahead and read Goliath since you haven't read it?
Well, okay, so they have a. They are. I'm not
Read the
reading.
description. Read the
Everybody
description.
knows what
It's
a
the
fucking Goliath
no,
is.
no. You have to read it because this is not the fifth edition Goliath.
You didn't read Dragonborn.
Because we know what a dragonborn is, and nothing changed. But what I'm telling you is
Nothing
this
changed. They have
Goliath,
They have dark vision.
this Goliath is not the fifth edition Goliath.
Towering over most folk, Goliaths are distant descendants of giants. Each Goliath bears the blessings of the first giants, blessings that manifest in various supernatural boons, including the ability to quickly grow and temporarily approach the height of the Goliath's gigantic kin. Goliaths have physical characteristics that are reminiscent of the giants in their family lines. For example, some Goliaths look like stone giants, while others resemble fire giants. Whatever giants they count as kin, Goliaths have forged their own path in the multiverse unencumbered by the internecine, and I don't even know what that word is, internecine conflicts that have ravaged giant kind for ages and seek heights above those reached by their ancestors. So they are humanoid. They're medium, about 7 to 8 feet tall. Their speed is 30 feet.
35.
Yeah, 30 feet, since everything moves 30 feet.
35.
You have the words out of your mouth earlier. Lifespan 80 years on average. As a Goliath adventurer, you have the following special traits: giant ancestry. You are descended from giants. Choose one of the following benefits. So you can basically be descended from cloud giant, fire giant, frost giant, hill giant, stone giant, or storm giant. Where's the stupid giant? Because that's what you would be descended from.
The hill giant and
Yeah,
probably
oh,
yeah,
okay, well, yeah.
or stone
uh,
giant.
if you choose the cloud giant, you get cloud's jaunt. That's dumb. As a bonus action, you magically teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. So you get Misty Step. You
Yeah.
get fucking Misty Step.
Yes.
Fires burn if you're a fire giant. When you hit a target with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can also deal 1d10 fire damage to that target. Uh, how often? Let's.
Proficiency bonus amount.
Okay. They did say that. Frost giant, which is called Frost Chill. When you hit a target with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can also deal 1d6 cold damage to the target and reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. I guess you would want to do that if you're playing a archer. I can't imagine
Um,
you'd care about that extra 10 feet if you're a melee class.
yeah, it honestly should be like disadvantage on their next attack against you because you're cold,
Yeah,
or
something like
or
that.
their speed is 0 until the end of their
Or
next turn.
can't benefit from healing for a turn, shit like
Yeah,
that.
the frost giant chill is the weakest of the bunch.
Hill's Tumble, which is Hill Giant. When you hit a large or smaller creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can knock that target prone. That is baroque as hell.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they need to fix that one.
Nope.
Everybody will play fucking Hill Giant. They don't
Yeah,
care.
no save, nothing.
By,
Just you're prone now.
by the way, if I ever allowed this in my campaign, every one of these is having a stat bonus of some sort. They're all gonna have like the Hill Giant. You pick the Hill Giant, I might give you plus to strength, but you're getting negatives to intelligence. Let's see. Stone's endurance. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12. Add your constitution modifier to the number rolled and reduce the damage by that roll, by that total.
That's the current thing that Goliaths have in 5th edition.
When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll. Um, I don't hate it. I mean, it's powerful, but
I mean, that's the
uh,
current way it is in 5th edition, and
you
it's
know,
actually really great. I've used it quite a bit. Right now it's like once per short rest or something like that. Um, it's really good. It can save your ass a few
oh
times.
sure. But and the thing is, there are already a lot of class abilities and things like that that do this. The current campaign that I've been running, there's a fighter who has that ability. They can use it on other people. There is a rogue who has that ability. They can use it for themselves. And then I want to say the warlock somehow has an ability to reduce damage. Yeah, because they're the under the sea one, whatever the
Yeah,
fuck they're called.
there's not a lot. If you play a fighter, there's not a lot of things that reduce damage taken.
Hmm.
Um, and this is just a nice big piece of it. You get crit, Stone's Endurance, you could just zero out that damage. So,
Yeah, yeah. So it's just another one of many possible options for that already exist. Most of them I don't think are a D12 plus con modifier, but still.
right. And also, what this means too is all the current Goliaths in 5th edition that are known are all stone giants.
Well, eh, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say that isn't the case, but at the same time, this is a complete rewrite of what the race is. So,
And I'll
uh,
get to that in a second.
So Storm's Thunder for Storm Giant. When you take damage from a creature within 60 feet of you, you can use your reaction to deal 1d8 thunder damage to that creature. Yeah, I don't care. That's actually fairly weak. It's not horrible at low level, but that's got to level up with you. Otherwise, it's pointless. They get large form. Starting at 5th level, you gain the ability to supernaturally grow. As a bonus action, you change your size to large, provided you're in a big enough space. Lasts for 10 minutes or until you end it as a bonus action. During that duration, you have advantage on strength checks and your speed increases by 10 feet. So then they can move 40 feet. Once you
Okay.
use once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. And the last thing they get is powerful build. You have advantage on any saving throw you make to end the grappled condition on yourself. You also count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift.
Mhm.
Eh,
So here's the issue uh, with these last two abilities. With powerful build, you're considered large. Okay, you can push, move, whatever, as if you were a large creature.
yes.
Um, so a lot of the times you can just basically say, "Hey, DM, since I'm considered to be a large creature with my powerful build, can I, have advantage on this, um, you know, strength save, athletics check, because I'm considered to be large." Um, and a lot of times they'll give it to you. Sometimes they won't, which makes sense, but sometimes they do. They did change it where you get the saving throw by being grappled, which makes sense. So they essentially, with large form, made it so now you can, without having to coerce your DM, with like, "Hey, I'm large. Can I get advantage on the strength save because I'm considered to be a large creature because I can push blah 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 blah." Now you just get that with large form. You actually become large and you can just move things around. I don't know why your speed increases by 10 feet.
Because you're
Okay.
large.
I don't think giants have.
Giants
What's
have a
the
higher,
difference?
yeah, giants I think have a 40 or 50 movement. Um,
Not giants.
so
They have a move of 40 feet. Okay. So, um, the issue is, though, to me, is that your damage doesn't change, which it should. You should get a damage bonus now that you're hitting somebody with a bigger weapon. That's Well, the Giants have that.
Yeah, but
Why doesn't this have that?
if they added that in, that class, that race is just they're going to remove that large form. Like if you start adding in bonus damage for using this as just
Okay,
a racial
then give
ability,
me damage reduction. Give me some benefit other than just increased speed and stuff that I'll get if I'm just raging, essentially.
sure.
I need something more. I'm a large creature. Make it so that everyone behind me gets full cover. I don't know if that's the rule or not in sixth edition. They haven't discussed that yet. You know, give me something that says, "Hey, I am a big person. I'm now large and in charge." What has changed? Am I hitting harder? Am I
Here
taking less
and
damage?
and here is the problem with them not having negatives. So if you just start adding on more positives on top of more positives,
Hmm.
you end up with something too powerful. Because if you're playing the fire giant version of that, where you can add the extra D10 equal to your proficiency, equal to your proficiency bonus, and then you do large form, and then you add a damage modifier on top of that, you're just looking at a race that is straight up more powerful than everything out there. You got 35 feet of movement. Uh, so if they were to add in a negative on top of
So
that, of if you go large form, you get minuses to your armor class because you're larger and easier to hit. You could offset something like that.
right,
But in 5e and onward, they've refused to add any negatives ever anywhere.
right. Here's the last thing. I don't like giant ancestry on the Goliath race.
I don't either. Goliaths were they like you might have had some
Yeah,
some ancestry of giants, but it's distant.
right.
You weren't really supposed to get the benefits of it.
I don't know the difference now between a Goliath and a Ganassi. So
What is a Ganassi?
where they're basically fire,
Oh,
earth,
okay, I got it. Well,
cold,
they're
and they
not
have
large, and
no, but they have essentially the same bonus. A giant ancestry could just be Ganassi ancestry. Oh, you're a thunder Ganassi. Okay, you get this benefit. You could teleport. It's the same thing.
okay,
So
yeah,
either they're not including that race in sixth edition, which would be fine. That means Goliath is just replacing them.
yeah, but
Okay.
you know they're going to.
But then you have two things that are walking around with burning hair. It just I like Goliath where they were, being far distant ancestors of giants. I would like to see large form taken and push a little bit higher. I don't care if giant ancestry goes away, but I do know there's a lot of people that like playing fire giants, frost giants. Um, and a lot of people do like that they're bringing more of the giant stuff from from the monster manual into the race.
Yeah,
But I don't want. I don't know. Like it's like I
I
say,
see your
it goes back to the point that all current Goliaths are stone giants.
yeah, I see your complaint. There is a lot of overlap, and like when I read through this, my initial thoughts on it were this isn't Goliath's.
Right. It's more Ganassi.
This is giant kin,
Yes.
and I like the idea of Goliath just having some ancestry somewhere in there of some giant, But yeah, I personally am not a fan of this. A lot of this some of it seems overpowered, some of it seems underpowered, and you're trying to do a balancing act while making the Goliath feel like a Goliath. And I think this is just failing on all regards.
Yeah, I'd rather have there be giant kin and Goliath. But then you pretty much have two giant races.
I think no giant kin whatsoever. I think just do Goliath.
Yeah.
You can if you want giant kin, put them in a monster manual somewhere.
That makes sense. Like I said, I love Goliaths. I really do because
Oh
of
yeah.
obvious reasons.
Yep.
But I like the way they are in fifth edition. I love large form. I wish it was a little bit more. If you make large form a little bit more and you take away giant ancestry, I ain't gonna complain. Um, but at the same time, if you want giant ancestry to be the focus of the Goliath from here on out, I don't know.
I can
Like you said,
guarantee
it's
you that
giant kin.
I'm not sure that some of the abilities under Giant Ancestry, I'm not sure they won't change, but I can absolutely guarantee you Giant Ancestry is going nowhere. When they create, like, if you've looked at all these other things they've been doing, they're trying to give you options, which I love options, as you well know. You know, like the Ardlings, you get 4 different types. The Warlock had 3, what was it? They had a whole bunch of different types. You could be, you know, chaotic neutral, chaotic evil, lawful,
Yeah.
etc. Like they're just adding in a shit ton more options for character development. Or yeah, and I personally love that. I just don't know that this one hits the Goliath properly.
Yeah, it feels off. It feels like they're trying too much to make them more like giants, and they've lost the history of what makes a Goliath a Goliath.
Yeah. Now it, I can't say there's no history with Goliath. Goliath has never been a part of my personal lexicon.
Yeah,
They were not a thing in second edition. I don't even remember them ever from third edition. They might have popped up in Eberron, I think it might have been, but I never played
fourth.
Eberron. I know they were in fourth edition, but I never really played fourth, so they just never were a thing to me. Um, even like people have played them. When I ran Icewind Dale, I had characters play the Goliaths, but that's the only time I've ever seen them.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Goliath, what makes a Goliath seems to be taking a back seat to this. So I would, if they want to call him Goliath, get rid of giant ancestry. If they want to keep that in there, make him giant kin, I'd be happy with that. I'd be sad that I lost Goliath, but I'd still get to play my giant.
Yeah, at that point, you feel like honestly, maybe that's what you need to do if they go with this. Is just do not call them Goliaths. You personally just say they're call them giant kin, and it might make it feel a little better for you.
Probably. If they recalled this giant kin, I'd be fine. And if Goliath was just a subset of what stone giants were, I'm fine with that. Well,
Yeah.
now you have to give me the cool things that they did culturally, but for each, separate thing. Stone giants, for example, or the Goliaths currently, they all have weird, kind of like growths over their body. That kind of
Mhm.
like takes shape and form. Whenever you look at a picture, they're not tattooed; those are growths. They come in at different colors and shades and stuff like that. And each one of those is like a story or something along those lines, and they're very proud of what they are. Um, and they're also living in Icewind Dale in very cold regions, so they kind of lost their innate cold resistance as well too from all this. So if they want to keep this for being Goliath, then I need to know what the hill giants have that they like. What do fire giants like, and do they like having big burning beards and shit like that? I
Well,
would need more actual like fun lore
Xanathars.
things.
I want to say it was Xanathars. Has a lot of lore on the giants.
It has a lot of lore on the giants, but it's different than the Goliaths.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If you want, I would imagine if their ancestry is from giants, you could utilize that to at
Yeah,
least get an idea of what they would like.
right. And I'd have to come up with it, but I'd rather them tell me in the player's
Sure,
handbook.
yeah, but they won't.
Hill giants like to roll things downhill. They do a lot of rolling downhill.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed when I read the name of that. Their ability, if you take the hill giant ancestry, is hills tumble.
Hmm.
And my hope was that you have an attack that you roll on the ground to knock somebody over.
Yeah, that'd be great, and squish them in the process.
Like, yeah, when you hit a larger, smaller creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can knock that target prone. Should actually read when you use this ability, you roll into an enemy and knock them over.
You can sit on a prone target's chest and crush them to death.
You become a bowling ball for a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been great. That's what I was hoping for.
yeah,
But anyway, I've scrolled down through the rest of this UA, and everything just seems to be a rehashing, probably the updates that they've gone with of all the stuff we've already talked about.
yeah. The
The
change log shows what they changed in this one. There's a small list of things, and I was kind of going through them individually so we could find something good to talk about. But they haven't really changed anything more than like number of targets or clarified something from previous editions
Yeah.
that didn't make any sense.
So we will save the cleric for next week.
Yeah,
Once I've actually had a chance to read through this. I'm actually
yeah.
currently playing a
I,
cleric, so this will be kind of interesting.
I haven't read the cleric stuff either because I don't know.
Well, you don't fucking play clerics.
I don't need warlocks with a different flavor.
Well,
This is
I,
divine warlock.
that's what a warlock is to me. It's just a cleric of another flavor.
All right, we're done.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else. I wanted to talk about specifically what they talked about in the video, and we covered a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh, you want to know a final fun thing?
Oh, okay. I'll let you say this, but there was one quick thing I wanted to talk about from that. But go ahead.
All right. So someone posted a question in our Discord. Um, how many times can if you use Dragon's Breath on a creature, how many times can they breathe that breath weapon? And essentially, if you maintain concentration for the full minute, you can do it 10 times.
As a
Okay.
Dragonborn?
No, there's a second level transmutation spell called Dragon's Breath.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All
You
right.
touch a willing creature and imbue it with magical energies, where it can basically breathe a 15-foot cone of acid, fire, whatever.
Yeah.
So the question was, how many times can you do that? Well, the willing target can do that 10 times,
Yeah.
essentially one time per round for the full minute of concentration.
Yes.
And then I linked the video that Z Brashaw made about Dragon's Breath. And I advise everyone to go to YouTube, look up Z Brashaw. It's Zeebashew. Sorry, Z Bashew. And watch the video on this Dragon's Breath. And essentially what it is you get speak with animals, or a druid to you speak with animals, and you speak to two small creatures like mice, and you ask them if they'd be willing to let a wizard cast a spell upon them. Okay? And not a wizard, sorry, a sorcerer cast a spell upon them. And then cast Dragon's Breath on both of those mice. And so then you point the mice and squeeze them, and then the mice know to basically spew forth a Dragon's Breath. So you're walking around with two mice in your hands that are just breathing fire for a full minute.
If you're doing it with a sorcerer, have them cast it with extend a spell, and you get
You
2
have to
minutes
twin
out
it.
of it.
You have to twin it. So
And
I don't know if you can use two meta magics in one spell.
yes, you definitely can.
Okay.
It will increase. If I recall right, it increases the level of it. But yeah,
But yeah, you're running around with two mice just going blah 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 blah. Make one fire and one ice.
yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Next thing you know, you're up on a space station somewhere hunting xenomorphs with flamethrowers. That's how this begins.
You do this in game, Mike? It's Spelljammer in the next session. I promise you.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
that's how that's gonna happen.
yeah.
So the one thing they talked about, and they didn't get a lot of details on it because they haven't released a lot of details, but they're talking about fighter weapon options, and this is going to be a big thing apparently coming when they do the big fighter release, because fighters are generally kind of boring and bland to play. Yeah, because
That's you.
well, understand though, you get a weapon, you're just going to take the two-handed sword because it's the best weapon in the game, and you're just going to keep swinging it, and that's all you're going to be able to do with it. But apparently, they're going to add different types of weapons. Uh, they're they're going to make piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing matter more. It seems
That'd be
so.
fun if they did that. If they made bladed weapons, bludgeoning weapons, and chopping weapons, and gone with slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, if they go either way, and they focus on spells or feats that work off of that, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft had it at the start. It was my favorite thing in the world. I miss sword mastery. I really do. I miss mace mastery. I really
Yeah.
do. I don't know which is better. Probably the sword. Sword probably the funnest.
But
Um,
it was just something they talked about briefly in there, and I personally am very much looking forward to seeing where they go with that because it sounded interesting. It sounded like a lot more cool options for fighters because fighters generally I feel like just have the least amount of options.
we have Battle Master. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but everybody wants to play Battle Master because that's the only one with any fucking options.
Champion's good. He crit on a 19.
Yeah, that's literally it. Champion does one thing.
There's Samurai, and they don't have anything.
Yeah, every other archetype kinda sucks. Battle Master's good. The one where you can channel spells through your weapons is terrible.
Let's be fair. There's like 3 or 4 really good fighter subclasses that are just broken. Runic Knight being the top of that.
Runic Knight is pretty fucking good. Yeah, yeah,
It's it's more broken than the Battle Master, believe you me.
yeah. It can be. There are situations where it is for sure. So
That pretty much is.
yeah, but anyway, like I like I like options. I like choices and decisions for people to make and just to expand on what they can do. So this sounded cool.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Well, yeah, we
They
got a
better
long
not
ways to
fuck
go.
it up.
This well, and they've already fucked up some of it. But
They're fixing some of it.
yeah.
I'm still not going to call it a D20 test or whatever the fuck they want to call it.
They dropped that.
Roll.
They dropped it.
Rolled. They
They
did?
yeah, that was
Because
they talked.
it's still all over this thing. It still says D20 test.
Oh, wait, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Might have been
Because
they dropped the idea. I think of like, no, I don't remember. There was something they dropped. Go watch the fucking video. You linked it to me.
yeah, I thought. Listen,
Anyway,
make your homepage D&D Beyond and get all the data when it comes out.
yeah, that'll never happen.
Instead
Anyway,
of DuckDuckGo or whatever fucking browser you use.
uh, not often. Most of the time, it's Google. Unfortunately.
Brave or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. I use the Brave browser. That way, Google doesn't track me and shit.
Except it's built off of
Uh,
Chromium.
anyway, I'm out. Bye, guys.